Hello everyone and welcome back to another YouTube video. Today I'm talking about my relationship with the word alcoholic. So I know this is a bit controversial and I think it's just helpful for each person to share their experience with the word alcoholic, with that label, because for some people it's super helpful, it's very empowering, it's liberating, and for other people it doesn't work. It doesn't fit well. And I've actually had both experiences where it's felt liberating and it's also felt really disempowering. So I'm going to share my journey with it. Before I even stopped drinking, as many of you know, I was in therapy, and it was probably like right before my third or fourth session with her. And I was in the shower and I was getting ready. I was also getting ready to go on my first big international trip by myself. I remember I was in the shower and it was like this, just something kind of came over me. And I said to myself, I am an alcoholic. And then I said it again and I was like, I am a fucking alcoholic. And it felt so good. It felt so good to just say it, to put it out there. Yeah, I remember just feeling so good saying that. And I went to therapy and I was like so proud to report progress. And she's like, okay, great. Like, this is a step in the right direction. And what was interesting is I said, and I'm going to say something that you're not going to like. So I know I just admitted that I'm an alcoholic, but I'm not ready to stop drinking. I'm just not. And I know I'm eventually going to need to quit, but I feel like because I've admitted that I'm an alcoholic, now I'm going to try and course correct. I just want to try and fix it. But I know I'm going to fail. Like, I know it's not possible. I know like what's done is done. I can't reverse my relationship with alcohol. Like, moderation is not possible for me. But I just want to try now that I've admitted that I have an issue with it. And she's like, okay. I told her, I was like, I'm going on this trip. My friends drink, it's part of how we have fun together. And I can't imagine myself not drinking on the trip. So I'm not ready to. And I also I want to work on things. I want to try and fix it. And just the wild thing is, like I said, I was like, I know it's not possible. I know like I'm totally going to fail at this. So it was just kind of about like crossing my fingers, like hope everything goes okay. A month after that, I quit drinking for good. And because clearly nothing changed. And I just got so sick and tired of the consequences. And I couldn't do it anymore. So yeah, for the first year and a half, I considered myself to be an alcoholic. Again, I just didn't know any better. I thought that's just, it's what you do when you stop drinking. And about 6 months in, I started going to AA. And so calling yourself an alcoholic is very much a part of that program. That's just kind of how it works. So yeah, I just very much kind of just went with that. But I noticed that every time I said that I was an alcoholic, just something felt off, especially when I would like introduce myself at meetings and I would say, hi, I'm Jody, I'm an alcoholic. It just felt like I was every time I said that, I was just like beating myself over the head with a bat. It's like, don't you forget it. Don't you forget that you're an alcoholic. And it's like, Jesus Christ. I know, that's why I'm here. I don't want to drink again. Like, I'm not going to drink again. And better yet, I have no desire. I'd lost the desire at that point. I was so done with everything that alcohol created in my life. And I was so grateful and connected to the things that sobriety gave to me and provided for me that I just couldn't go back anymore. So there wasn't even a desire. And I just felt like, okay, at what point do I get to move on from this? Not meaning like I go back to drink. It's just, at what point can I just trust myself that I'm going to do the right thing and I'm going to stay sober because that's ultimately what I want? Like, why do I have to keep saying that I am an alcoholic? it just felt off for me. I was like, I'm okay, I get it. I'm not like in denial. I'm just over saying this. It just seems, I guess, silly, or it didn't feel good. And the reason why it didn't feel good is because at the beginning of my journey, I knew that, okay, like clearly my path in life is to be sober. Sobriety is it for me. Drinking cannot be involved in my life ever again. It doesn't bring good things. It's like, okay, well, this is it. This kind of sucks. This is unexpected. Didn't think that this was going to happen. And I am going to make the best of this. I am not going to be embarrassed. I am not going to be ashamed. I am not going to hide. I'm going to celebrate this and I'm going to make the best of it. And I can't live my life in shame over this. Like, there's just no room for that. Like, if this is it, let's make the best of this. Keep in mind, this is like not the mindset that I ever had about anything in my life. I was such a negative person that for me to be like so optimistic about this and kind of like be my cheerleader here, I was like, who am I? But okay, this feels way better because I'm not going to be sober and not drink and then like be embarrassed and ashamed. Like, there's just no space for that. And that was my goal the whole time, along with also just kind of going along with things. Like, I also wanted to be humble and I wanted to learn. And if this is, you know, how we do things here and we go by the label alcoholic, then like, okay. And like, also it felt really good in the shower that one day. It was very liberating. But eventually it didn't feel good anymore because I didn't feel empowered saying that. I didn't feel like calling myself an alcoholic was me trusting myself to stay sober. Didn't feel like I was trusting myself to have my own back and to do the right thing. I saw it as something as like, I need to continuously remind myself of this because I might forget. And that's also the message that I was getting. Like, don't ever forget, keep going to meetings. You know, you can relapse like that. And I was like, not of that school of thought anymore. I couldn't do it anymore. And I knew that if I was going to be a part of a community that supported my sobriety, I needed to be in a group where we learn to trust ourselves and feel empowered. That may have been some other people's experiences with the label and the program, but it was not mine. It just wasn't. And the more that I learned about alcohol itself, especially through the book, This Naked Mind, I feel like that was really a huge turning point for me. Things just started to shift. And so I feel like I have to say this because it's like someone like always chimes in and they're like, but this, and this about AA. This is not an AA bashing video, okay? So don't even go there. It works for some people. It works for a lot of people. It doesn't work for a lot of other people as well. I actually think it's a wonderful program, but it wasn't my end all be all, okay? And so it just didn't work for me anymore. And neither did the label. Again, some people love it. It's empowering and works for them. Without it, they don't feel great in their sobriety. And I love that. You need to just find what works for you. But as humans, we are evolving, we're growing. And that's the same with our sobriety. And you might evolve within a program. You might evolve out of a program. You might evolve into many different things. Like, doesn't matter. I just felt like I had outgrown it or it just didn't fit anymore. And so I stopped labeling myself an alcoholic. And do you want to know what I started calling myself? Jody. I'm just Jody. I just don't drink. Yeah, a lot of yucky stuff led up to this. It wasn't like I just woke up one day and I was like, I'm just not going to drink alcohol anymore because my life is awesome. No, like really yucky stuff happened. But I just didn't find it necessary to call myself an alcoholic. And a lot of the clients that I work with also don't resonate with the label, or it makes them feel yucky. It doesn't feel empowering to them. And so what I offer them is when you're coming to a point where, because I do think it is really important to admit that you have a problem. I mean, that this is the first step in AA, and I think it's a great first step for everyone on this journey. We have to admit that it's problematic. And so I always invite them to say, you know, I'm experiencing alcohol abuse, or I'm experiencing addiction, whatever resonates for them. And that's it. Or like, yeah, it doesn't work for me. There's really like no set verbiage. I don't ever think there's like a time in coaching sessions where it's like, okay, this is what you need to say. No, it's like people already know when they come to work with me, it doesn't work. They want to quit drinking. They want to create an empowered, sober life. But yeah, I wonder though, if I were to go back in time and I just had some other verbiage options, would it have been enough to say, you know, I'm experiencing alcohol abuse? And I think when it comes back to that day in the shower, when I had said that I was an alcoholic, and it felt very liberating, right? It felt good. It felt empowering. I think it was really labeling what I had been experiencing. And I think being able to label an experience that you're having is really important. So it's not like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know. Just something feels off. It's just weird. I don't know. It keeps you out of the I don't knows. It's like, this is what's happening. I think when we can label it, then we can do something about it. And so for me, I think that's what I was experiencing, is I was just able to put a label on the experience, or a name rather, to the experience. So what is that for you? What does that sound like? Or is it just good enough to say, alcohol doesn't work for me anymore? It doesn't work. It doesn't make me happy. It's not a useful ingredient in my recipe for life, for an awesome life. Maybe it's just that. So, yeah. And I like to also think of that day when I said that I was an alcoholic in the shower. I feel like it was like a stop sign for me, even though I didn't really stop. Maybe it was like a warning sign. And so what's going to be that stop sign for you, or that warning sign, or that label, or that phrase, or that name that's going to really have you kind of like pause and be very just aware of your experience and what's going on for you. Is it alcoholic? Is it I'm experiencing alcohol abuse? Is it this isn't working for me? Is it yeah, I don't know, you know, but like, what's going to be your warning sign or your stop sign? Because I felt like calling myself an alcoholic that day really was like my stop sign. It was like, stop. Okay, if we're using that, then we've got to really start paying attention. So that's my journey with it. I hope that this was helpful. Maybe you can relate to it, maybe you don't, and that's okay. But again, this was my journey. It doesn't mean that my experience with it is going to be right for you. You really have to figure out what works for you. And often when I share my experience with the label and just how it worked for me, and then it didn't, it really resonates for some people. So I hope that it's helpful, and you really don't have to call yourself anything. And it doesn't mean that you're denying it. It's just, if it doesn't feel empowering for you, if it doesn't help you move forward and start creating the life and becoming the person that you want to be, then maybe that's not helpful. Because we can think, there might be thoughts that are true, or that we believe to be true about us. And are they helpful? Meaning, are they helping you become the person that you want to be? Are they helping you move towards your goals or the results that you want in your life? And so for me, at one time it was helpful, and then it was not helpful anymore. And that's okay. That's okay. So you just have to figure out what works for you. And I'm going to leave you with one thing that Holly Whitaker said, who's just such an amazing asset to our alcohol-free community. And I think she nailed it. She nails a lot of stuff. She's fantastic. She said, addiction is an experience. It is not an identity. Addiction is an experience. It is not an identity. I feel like that just sums up this whole video. Like I could have just said that. And it's brilliant. I think it's absolutely brilliant. And I think that sums up how a lot of people feel about their experience with alcohol. And they recognize that it's an experience and it doesn't have to be all of who they are. And also, just because you call yourself an alcoholic does not mean that that's also your identity. You can still identify with the label and love it, and it can help you, and it doesn't have to be all of you. So again, I hope that that was helpful. If you have any other requests for other topics that you want me to cover, please comment below. Also, if you are someone who is interested in working with me as a sobriety coach, you are interested in what your empowered sober path looks like, send me a DM at the Sobriety Shift and we'll chat. I also am just going to pop a consultation link below if you know you're interested in working with me or you have some curiosity and you just want to hop on a call. Maybe you're more comfortable with that. You're more of a private person, which is a lot of my clients. Just book that consultation below. It's a confidential conversation between you and I, and if it feels like we are a good fit to work together, we can chat about that. All right, have a wonderful rest of your day.